All right, race fans, we're here. We got a clean racing league here tonight, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about because we've had some, we've talked about the charter thing system, um, some new happenings here and there, drivers and so forth. So, going to be interesting to see what happens here tonight. I mean, it has been a heck of a. Or we have right now got qualifying Texas. I always say Texas. Everything big at Texas. Well, we got a big track, big power, big field. Texas got big cows, too. I like saying it. Last week, I found out some guys that have joined the league here that I've known. And Mike Kelly right now putting it on top of the poll. He's actually one of the trucks that is not chartered who has to race his way in. Failed to get in last week. But right now, as it stands, he's in this week because he's sitting on pole. You also got, we did find out finally Lane's last name. I'll wait till Caleb comes up in here, but I think I'm still saying Hosler, but how he said it back. Say it again.
It is, ladies and gentlemen, it is Lane Hostler. We've been saying it wrong this entire time.
Yeah. Feel like Hoosler. Kind of has a ring. Hostler. Be used to that one.
Yeah. I feel bad because we've been saying it wrong this whole time, but
But we didn't say nothing.
Okay. Well, I mean, sometimes we're just happy to be on the broadcast, and just we don't care how the name's said.
Oh, believe me, man. I've been here times, guys. Hey, Joe, you said. Okay, well then let me know what it sounds like. I was just going to recap on what we was talking about here. Of course, Mike Kelly, remember last week, didn't make the field. One of the trucks that has to actually qualify in right now, put it on pole, so he's definitely going to make it in here tonight. Kruger, newcomer to the league, was uncharted, but from my understanding, did he get a charter?
Yes. So
Yeah.
after last week's race at Dover and everything that kind of happened, the two truck of Justin Duran, who I think no longer is racing with us in the CRL Truck Series, transferred his charter to the 44 truck of Kruger. So the 44 now the 44 still does have to meet the minimum requirements of races. for the
Sure.
regular season to make the playoffs. But as of right now, he is locked in with, Ross Tatum, Joshua Altus, Rob Sherwood, and Crank Bell.
Yeah.
So, 5 for 5 on the season so far. Time to make it 6, I guess.
Yeah, well, and I say for the last couple of weeks, I've been excited. I hate the part about Durant because he definitely was another fast stroke. Just some bad luck on his end. And it happens, we've talked about it before, been over aggressive, maybe, balance between winning and et cetera, et cetera. But, Mike Kelly up there, I've said before, I've seen how fast he was. Scott Simley, another one. They are teammates, by the way. I think Kruger is kind of associated with him in a way. So, because they were talking about it there, we'll find out more as the season goes on. Because a lot of these are new drivers are coming in. I know Simley and Kelly both are not chartered, so they do have to race their way in. Both of them will make it tonight. Kelly's sitting on pole, Simley 6. Hey, we got it's kind of turning into now, Caleb. It's the new guys or the new blood versus the old guys, the veterans here of the Clean Racing League. Because you've got well, I can't say Tatum's the old guy. He's actually his only second season. So, but you've got Hoosler. I know I'm probably going to say
Hostler.
Hostler. My bad. So might have Caleb help me out on that one. So, and you've got guys like, Gostin, Grant, Carey, Altus, Sherwood. Those are the veterans here. Guys that have been for a very long time. But then you got the new guys, like I say, Kelly, Tatum, Kruger, Simley. There's a couple more out here that are new, that are really coming up. And we've talked about this as we're gridding up here in Texas. We've talked about it. Hostler out here, Lane, who has dominated the last 2 seasons. Well, has he finally found some folks to step up? And then you brought up a good point last week about teams, which now I'm kind of wondering, because Durant and Kruger work together so well. Now that kind of, who's Kruger going to work with now? Because I haven't seen teamwork like that. I haven't seen that kind of teamwork. Wow. They really had a great teamwork kind of mentality going on. So it'll be interesting to see if that affects Kruger in any way.
I don't think it will, and I'll elaborate a little bit. On tracks like this, 1.5 miles, like last week at Dover, your mile tracks, I don't think it matters as much as say compared to if we were at Auto Club, Michigan, Talladega, New Atlanta. I don't think it would matter as much, especially here, because I mean, all for the second truck would be was you're in dirty air, unlike at the other tracks where it's high speed. You kind of need somebody to keep the momentum going. And last week with the cautions we seen, they were getting good jumps off the line. They were doing very, very well. But I don't think it's going to change the mentality for the 44 truck, because he's going to go when he's going to go, and as long as he can catch second, and third will go with him. But if he's in first, hypothetically speaking, he will get the jump every time, because we seen him do it all last race at Dover, and he ended up winning. So I don't think it's going to affect him much at these types of tracks. But like I said, once we get to like Dega, New Atlanta, any big style track where you kind of need somebody, maybe then. But like you were saying, Simley,
Kelly.
Yep, those guys, they're all kind of working together. So I think he's got some teammates. But it's like you were saying, new guys versus the old guys, the veterans. So
It's gonna be interesting.
yeah, and to tonight's race, the Operation N22 115 from Texas, about to go green.
This pace truck cut the lights off, drops off on pit road. Here we go. Kelly and company up front. And our series defending champion, Ross Tatum, he's right there alongside him. This is kind of a momentum style track. So you got to be kind of aggressive on these starts and get what you can get, because it's going to be very tough as the run goes on. Get a long green flag run. But you can see, man, Kelly and Kruger. And that might be what you just alluded to right there early on. Caleb is already spinning. Tatum, good save.
Oh, what a save.
Well, maybe not
spinning.
a good save for the guys in the back. Eric Anderson. Oh, he had
Anderson.
it. Ugh. Go back and watch that again. But Tatum had a save up front. We were watching that there live. Forgot to mention, you get a little slick on this back too. Cold tires. I think it's just product of cold tires. Right here, watch. Tatum just lost it. Good save. Problem is, everybody tried to check up, and when you check up, it's just kind of a cool effect. There's nothing Eric could do, nothing the other guys could do in the back. That's just cold tires.
It's cold tires, and then basically you're going into the corner 150 miles an hour plus, and then you're having to drop it like 100 miles an hour. So I mean, he just locked the rears up plus the cold tires. Really, nothing he can do. But good save by Tatum. Unfortunately, it resulted in a bad day for the guys behind. But lap one incident.
yeah, and again, we go back to that. Just in an incident like that, just really nothing you. Try to hold on. What's going on, Patsy? How you doing, Timothy? Donnie, Ronnie, Donnie and Ronnie. So Donnie, Hunter, Honeycutt. I kind of say you're going to be pulling Tyler Honeycutt. Got you. Got some Wayne Chapman fans out there, and then Dusty. Diversified here.
Yes. We do have 5 trucks on pit road. We have Tatum, Pursley, Anderson, Chapman, and Trask all on pit road. So I'm not sure if they're taking tires. Let's just. Yeah, I can't. It doesn't tell me.
The pit stops were 6 seconds. Pursley and Chapman. The other one's. Well, actually, Tatum looks like he's got damage. A 40-second pit stop. Eric, we know, hit the wall, so he definitely. Because they're all still on pit road. Evidently, they got. Don't know. Didn't see Tatum and Trask hit anything. I know Anderson did hit the wall. But right now, Tatum is, he's at a minute. Anderson's coming out now. Tatum and Trask still on pit road.
I know somebody had hit Anderson from the rear bumper.
Yeah, Anderson tapped the inside wall, so I knew he had some, but Tatum looked like he didn't hit anything. Now they're coming out.
Yeah,
but it took a minute 19, so they evidently had some damage somewhere. We probably didn't see.
Yeah, I mean, everything kind of happened a little bit quick. Just
no, not in this. I don't think there's any Earnhardt style drivers in this.
Oh man, I was about to say.
Yeah, I mean, we do have some. We talked about that before there, Caleb. But we do have some kind of aggressive drivers, and we have the conservative drivers. But when I say aggressive, I mean they're a hard charger and they like being, they make moves early, et cetera. Don't really. What you're probably thinking of is the people hate to say it is the Earnhardt style, just run somebody over. I grew up in that age. It bothered me. It is what it is, but I also call it for what it was. Is you ran a lot of guys over back in the day.
I think the thing that gets me, especially nowadays, people don't like seeing it, but they'll be like, "We love Earnhardt." It's like, okay, but you hate that style of racing.
Right?
Now.
Yeah. That's probably where I have the issue with it. Yeah, you love Earnhardt, but you don't want to see his style of racing, which go back and watch him again. If you go back and watch him, I mean, there was the true bump and run back then. A lot of times he guys over questionable, but again, that's the era it was, and it is what it is. But back green, Mike Kelly jumps out, and Hosler, Hostler. I'm gonna. That one's. I'm sorry, Lane. It doesn't take me a minute to get used to it. I apologize. I think it's because I've called you the other one so much. You see Kruger though on the outside. And here's a perfect example of what we were talking about, and we brought this up here last season. Caleb, Lane has dominated so much in the last 2 seasons. He started off the season and not bad, and then boom, out of nowhere, this Kruger guy just all of a sudden popped up in the last weeks. But we even brought up the question of who is going to step up and take on Lane. And, you heard last week, and, you alluded to it a little bit. When does that mentality of frustration, because twice now he's been to the Final Four, twice now came up short on the championship, but he's dominated the seasons and been the very fast and the favorite and the fastest truck. When does that psyche, and now he's got to be like, now I got to put up with guys being as fast or not faster than me. When now? Because Kruger's in the playoffs, so now that's a fast driver he's got to deal with. Obviously, Tatum's there. You've got some of the other veterans there. It's not going to get any easier. It doesn't look like, Caleb.
No, and I mean, when you're racing, especially in a field as competitive as what we're seeing this season, I mean even last season, but the thing with it, when I was racing, I finished second way more times than I finished first, and it's frustrating because you see these new guys come in, and off the jump they're doing better than you, and I'm not speaking I'm speaking off of experience, but they come in and they're doing better than you're getting irritated, because man, I would have finished first if they weren't here. So now you're kind of, I want to say, working yourself up, as Kruger's making a pass for a lead there.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's hard to say it because I wouldn't, if I was still driving and I was still racing, I don't think this way. But you can't let it get to you. You have to kind of put it behind you.
Easier said than done. That's the word you're looking for, right?
Exactly. Because and especially with the track like Texas, where it's so hard to pass, and Kruger made it.
He's gonna be king here.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and say it right now, because I know there's a lot of people that agree with me. Maybe they like this track, but this is the worst remodel of any track they've ever done. Right? I thought it was going to be Atlanta. It's not. It's Texas. This track. The old Texas was great. Why they made turn 1 the size of 8 interstate lanes, I have no idea.
And you only use one lane. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can't use any other lane because the track's not built that way. I mean, I'm sure when they went to do the banking and everything, they thought it was going to be good. Even for IndyCar, you can. So I mean, really, this track model isn't what they thought it was going to be. It's not my favorite track. I hate this track. I love the old Texas. The new Texas is terrible.
And I probably raced on the old Texas back in the. Because it's been a while since I.
There's a gentleman in the chat asking if the trucks were the same.
Yeah, I was waiting till you get done before you. Yeah, obviously, yes, there is Ford, Chevy, and Toyota. As far as we are on a virtual world, and I've spoke about this a couple times, Kayla. This is a fixed setup, so they can't change the setups on these trucks at any. About the only thing they can do is change the brake BIOS, fuel, stuff like that. Maybe put 2 tires on. That's as far as that goes. That's about the only thing that they limit-wise goes. It's been a while since I've been behind. But as far as changing anything setup-wise, no. So with that said, in theory, everyone should be on a level playing field. And so we're in a virtual world. Does it matter what truck you're in? I've had this conversation before. I've had guys talk about certain car field play, mostly when it comes to drafting.
Oh yeah.
Me personally, I don't know about you, Caleb, but I really feel like it really doesn't matter what on a fixed setup out or about the driver.
Well, yeah, no, on a fixed setup, the cars feel the same. However, if you're at Talladega, when I first started sim racing, we raced a bunch of sideways coming off the corner.
Yeah,
but you know, when I was racing and when I first started lead racing, we were in the Gen 6 Chevy. I'm not sure if you remember how pointy the nose was. Yeah. It was so hard to bump draft and draft because you had to hit them at the right angle or you were going to wreck them.
That's kind of how like the Xfinity cars are now.
Yeah. And you know, so we had made a switch to Ford because at the time Ford had the Mustang where it was completely flat. I mean, this is a Gen 6 car, so like it had a completely flat. There was no roundness, there was no point, there was no nothing. So it was easier to lock to the back of a bumper and push, and you know, you didn't have to worry about spinning people out. So like I get that aspect of it. However, setup-wise and feel-wise, no, they're all the same, especially on a fixed setup.
And that's just the virtual side of things. Now, on the flip side of that there, Ronnie, Ford, they just added Ford in the last couple of years. Ford was not always on NASCAR, truck-wise, that is. Now, Ford's been in the Xfinity and the Cup since time. They've never had the Dodge truck. So, my understanding, never had the Dodge. It's a licensing thing. I mean, iRacing still has to buy the license. Glad, you know. It's a business. I mean, so they had to get the Ford too. So, for the longest time, it was just Toyota. Well, actually, Chevy. The longest time, and then Toyota came about. Toyota has been around for quite a while, and the Ford's only been around for several or so years. Yeah, we're talking about coming through the field here too. Altus, that's a guy, man, I reference a lot. Who, you see him back here in the back, and the next thing you know, by the end of the race, he's up front. Be interested to see what he does at a track like this, because a track like this, being back here, even where he is in 12th, I mean, now he's up 7 spots. If he can get a long green flag run, maybe he can pick them off one by one. But it will be interesting to see how he's able to modulate and get up front without any like cautions or anything like that. Because we go back to on a track like this, it is very, very tough to do. And like what Tim said out there, that you have to have a license to drive the pace truck. I have no clue.
A subscription to iRacing.
Yeah. Subscription to iRacing. There you go.
So, the thing with picking off the driver one by one for Altus, I don't think it'd be an issue, especially with how
he's up 7.
With how well he can drive the truck and how well he's able to maneuver. I mean, he's a 2-time champion. So, I mean, you know, he's very talented driver. But the thing with it is, Texas is so wide, and it is very much a one-lane track.
That's the unfortunate.
Yeah, and you know, earlier, you know, before the season, you know, when everyone was trying to figure out what Texas we were going to run, we wanted to run the old sideways for the 24 truck.
And Hoyer. Back here too.
Say they are battling here, you know, in back single file.
Now, I want to
So I
ask you
mean,
real quick, Caleb. Have you run Texas?
recently,
Or when's the last time you have run? Because to me, it's been
off,
years.
off the top of my head, it's been less than a year because
Okay.
I
So you would probably
I
know better than I would. Because when I run this track, coming off turn 2, really, really tight-handed to the ball, get really loose. I don't know if it's changed much. How they look kind of planted, but when it goes on, they
yeah. So coming off of if my memory serves me right, I remember going into turn 1 and you would kind of arc it late because the corner's so wide and you had so much room to play with. You would arc it late and you would kind of apex late in the corner and you would kind of hammer off into coming off turn 2 and you kind of drift up to the wall. So really no issue turn 1 and 2. Turn 3 and 4, it's I don't remember if it's flat out or close to flat out. Turn 3 and 4 is such a change from turn 1 and 2. It's like they kept turn 3 and 4 the complete same and just butchered 1 and 2. But like look at how wide that corner is.
yeah, and this is you're not able to use any of that. I'll go along with what you think. I think their thinking was, yeah, this is going to be a they're going side by side. But you can see it right there. It's almost like Euclid up there. It is a bottom dominant track. Unlike Atlanta, where you can kind of use a little bit of multi-groove, but here it's, you might go to the middle groove right there, but you can, I think it's cool. That's Kenny, by the way. Did he get caught up in that early wreck?
I
Caught up in that early wreck because he had to do some damage on pit road.
I don't think I've seen him. I mean, he might be in the one that hit 43 of Anderson, but I don't. I remember turn 1, like when they had done it, they were still putting down that it's called PJ1 or whatever it was called. It was that sticky stuff, and they would put it. I'm sure somebody would correct me if I'm wrong, but they would put it on the least dominant lane. So say the inside lane was the dominant lane like we're seeing now, they would put it on the second and third lane, and then that would open up the racing, but it only made it worse. So like,
I like that question out there. Ronnie says, what is the advantage of such a wide turn? Well, right off the top of my head, Ronnie, I guess so you don't hit the wall. Or you're not riding the wall. I mean, that's a good question. That is a good question. What is the advantage of having such again, we can only go back and speculate when they did the track. Their thinking was it's going to be multi-group, side by side, wide. Hasn't been out that way. See here, I mean, with the leaders up front, Kruger's just been able to dominate. Kelly's right there in second. Say Lane because what's his last name? Sitting in third, and then Collins right there in the fourth place spots. We got some Rob Sherwood on pit road. This is not unknown, by the way. Here, Caleb, seen him do some weird style pit strategies. Him and Altus, those two teammates. So for them to come in this early, not unusual. But Collins up 8 spots there in fourth, so he's one of the hard chargers. Old Ghost having a pretty good night sitting there in fifth. Guy Simley, he's staying pretty much in sixth where he was. I mean, that's just a kind of a product of this track. Once you get stuck in a spot, sometimes it's where you're at. As you see now, Collins on pit road, so like pit stops happening here. Jacob Grant, third to sixth. Honeycutt, another one. So a lot of these guys, some of the veterans here that we're talking about. You got Judson Curtis here up in eighth. Nathan Brown having a good run so far. No, there. And Joshua Altus up in 10th, up 9 spots. But Mike Haynes up 11. Kevin Becker up 13.
Yeah, and seeing the the front rows kind of wow, he wiggled coming into that corner there. But yeah, no, seeing Rob come in here Um, nothing, like you said, nothing different from what we see out of Rob Sherwood. You know, always kind of, always kind of wanting to, push the envelope on what he can and can't do. Keep in mind, he's already locked into the playoffs.
Sure.
He's,
Sure.
at this point, why not throw something at the wall and see if it sticks?
And that's a good point, Caleb. Because Ronnie brought up that question earlier. Do we have any Earnhardt style drivers? And I mentioned we have some that are aggressive and some that are conservative. I put Altus in that conservative side because he likes to you kind of don't hear anything from him all race, and then all of a sudden at the end, boom, he's there. Finds a way. As opposed to like Lane, who too is more of an aggressive. He wants to be up front. He wants to lead. He wants that front running the whole entire race. He wants to control. So, but what you just said, hey, I'm in the playoffs. Change this mentality a little. But I'm with you.
Yeah, and so, really those are the only individuals we've seen hit so far.
Yeah.
Maybe they're trying to push lap 40. I don't know, but right now they're kind of fanned out here. You got this is the product of the new tires and the old tires.
Oh yeah.
You got the new tires that can cut up anywhere. And on a restart, now I will say on a restart, old tires and new tires, the wideness of the corner in turn 1 and 2 is perfect. It kind of, I want to say, deters people from staying out because, well, you can't defend 8 lanes worth of space in a corner. Yeah, no matter how good you are defending, you can't do it.
There sure would. He came in lap 30. He's definitely on a newer set of tires than anybody else out here right now, except for the ones who came in prior. And his last lap was a 30.92 to a 32.33. So you can kind of see the drop off. About 2 seconds or so, right, give or take, right at it. So you can see the drop off between new and old tires. Now the other question is how much do the new tires drop off as laps go on? How hard is this track on tires? Not as hard as like in Atlanta, I don't think, but it can be. I still take it back. Track position is very crucial right now. Kruger's still leading. You got Kelly back here. You got Lane sitting third. And then there's a big gap between Ghosts, about 2.8 seconds. I just chuckled a little bit at what Timothy said. What foods we getting down with? Well, I'm not eating anything. So if your wife is going to make and send us something here, I don't know.
What does it say? All right, getting down to business. What foods are we getting down to during the big NASCAR race? Hang on.
A real race or a race like this?
Yeah. I would say, are you saying like I'm going to a NASCAR race? What foods am I getting? Because if that's the case, if I'm going to Charlotte,
so leaders on pit road.
This kind of goes into what we seen last week.
Teammates, yeah.
Exactly. Like, you pit together, stay together. And, this goes back to what I was saying for the pre-race. He still has people out here. They're still working together. But also, if they're not, I mean, why would you let the leader get away from him?
Yeah.
He's right there. So, and I was saying it last week too. There's certain points. There's certain points where you can't. If you are 3 seconds back, there's no point pitting with the leader. You've got to either undercut, overcut. You got to do
especially
something.
a track like this.
Yeah, you got to do something. And I think that's what we've seen out of Rob Sherwood. I don't know where he was when he pitted.
Top 10, I know that. It's up there somewhere.
But he was so far back, and you can see the speed difference. Oh, I think he's pitting here. Well, either way, you've seen the speed difference there from old tires to new tires there, at least for a second.
Hey, Lane's on pit road with Ghost, yeah.
He set a real NASCAR race, Joe.
A real NASCAR? Don't be mad, Tim, but I have not sit and watched a real NASCAR race on a long time. I watch highlights of them. I keep up with what's going on in NASCAR, like the news, teams, and also I can keep my mind fresh on what's going on, so that I can reference, because, you know, I always say iRacing is the realest thing without spending millions of dollars to go real racing. And there's a lot of... What's that?
It's still expensive.
Well, it is, yeah. But there's a lot of corresponding things that you hear, you know, real racing here. I mean, it's obviously still real world, et cetera, but, you know, so I do keep up on what, you know, followings of watch a real race. I'm going to be honest with you. Caleb is a lot younger than I am. I'm old school, and when I say old school, I'm back from the 80s, okay? I'm taking it that far back. So, and I'm not talking about 89 either. We're taking it further. So, the political side of NASCAR now has really got me, but that's a whole entirely different subject. So, I don't even watch a whole Daytona Talladega race anymore. I might watch some of it, like the first 10, 20 laps, and then the last 10 laps. That's the most exciting part of the race. Got a caution. Oh, Ross Tatum. Wow. Oh, well, here it is again. Cold tires. Wow. I guarantee, yep, boom. Oh, that's just going through the gears. Cold tires coming out. Ross Tatum has just went from a night of it was going to be great to just terrible.
Listen,
I mean, I feel for him.
I do, but at the same time, I don't. And you know, I feel like we're both critical.
In a way, you don't. Okay.
I feel like we're both critical up here, and we both speak our mind. And, you know, if we see something that's kind of, you know, we don't like that, we'll say something.
And it's got nothing against the drivers. I mean, because I've had drivers lash out over that stuff. I mean, again, what get what Kayla's saying there is, when we do say things, it's not like, oh my Lord, you know, y'all just bad, you're terrible.
We are up here commentating what we see. You know, you got Collins coming in pit road, but like the thing, and those are two of the early hitters.
Emily's back on pit road, actually.
I don't really understand what happened. You know, coming off the pit road. I mean, I get it. You're trying to get everything you can, but I mean, it is what it is. You know, while we're under caution, let's go ahead and shout out our sponsor, Joe.
Sure, let's get them.
We got a Sports Academy Youth Flag Football Foundation. You know, you can go to sportsacademy.us. Check out all of that fun stuff with the youth flag football. Very good over there. And you know, we got Uniformity, which sponsors our starting lineup, which which I don't think we said tonight. But it is what it is. You know, Uniformity, they sponsored a few races this season. And tonight's title sponsor for the race, Operation N22. And you know, they're sponsoring here at Texas. And it aims to raise awareness about the hidden wounds of war and help veterans. You know, really nice, and you know, excited to have them on board for the race tonight.
Absolutely. I'm a big fan, man. Biggest veterans out there. Them and all the service, and good to see that sponsor coming on board here today. Races, we're going to have to go back green, and the caution. Kruger and Company up front. Kelly's there with them. Lights off, and yeah, Ronnie, I'm with you out there too. Richard Petty races. I never went back that far now. I'm not that old. but it didn't go back there. Yeah, bring back the nostalgia purpose. You asked about the draft too. There's somebody asked about the draft. Yes, draft does play a factor on these trucks, cars, or draft is even on this track. You not so much like you would at Daytona, Talladega, but you do feel this. We're getting set to go back green. Everybody's pitted. And it looks like Kruger and Kelly, they pitted on lap 39. You got Lane back there on 41. Everybody else on the 41, 37 for Clark. We'll see if maybe the difference on tires. I don't think that laps is that big of a difference, especially on this track. Flag. Back at it here. Texas.
Yeah, I mean, look at the launch from the two up front. I mean, that's
Lane got a launch with him too, though.
Yeah, and I think I think Lane's in a different mindset from what we've seen him in before. You know, I think Josh Wallace is just barely took the wall here. But you know, I think he's in a different mindset now. Lane is, and you know, he's got to do something. You know, if I was a driver in this series, you know, I'd be tired of seeing the same people up front. However, he's on the other side of the fence now. Remember last season before that, when he was winning all these races? Now he's the one chasing the guy in first. So now he's on the complete other side, and now he's chasing for a win when he was racing for championships. So, and now
I think he will be there at the end. It's a matter of time. Still got a fast. You're right. Gotta have that different psyche. We talked about Altus earlier. Up 13 spots. He's found a way to get to 6. I was going to see him time if he can get up there to get the top drivers. See Clark right there. Bryson Clark. He a charter driver.
Yes.
Up 11 spots. Justin Carey, we definitely know he is. He's a past champ here. He's up 12. So you've got right there 6th, 7th, and 8th place. Definitely some hard movers here. 13, 11, and 12. You got Nathan Brown sitting there in 9th. Judson Curtis, which he's got there. Gerber right there battling with him. That's for the 10th and 11th place spot with that. Tyler Persley. About Curtis. Sounds who?
I'll tell you. Let's go to the charter list. I got the thing on standby now after last week.
Yeah, I know. I should know them all, but folks, I got Caleb.
Let's see. Yep, he is chartered.
Okay, good deal. Well, he's up 4 spots in the 10th. Got Steve Gerber right there sitting in the 11th place spot. He's up 10 himself. Tyler Persley there in 12th. That's a big battle going on for the 11th, 12th, 13th place spot with Collins and company. You could do this earlier on. Remember what I was talking about on the restarts? The problem with this track is it kind of be that semi-aggressive. You got to be kind of aggressive and conservative at the same time. You've got to get as many positions as you can off the bat, because once you start getting single file here, very hard to pass. You got to be able to try to pick them off one by one, come through the field, and most notably we see this battle here, but that alludes to like with Altus here. He's got up to 6, but you can see right there in 6 now everybody's single file in front of him, and he's about 2 seconds back from the leader. Can he make up that ground? So at some point it's kind of like brick wall happens.
And we're kind of starting to see the trucks kind of settle down. We're seeing some battles like what we're seeing here. But I mean, even this is going back single file. So that's just the style of racing of this track. And
frustrating too as a driver.
Oh, definitely. And especially the longer races. Like tonight's race, it's 115 laps. So as a driver, and I'm happy I'm not racing anymore, because like I would always get myself worked up when I was racing. I'm serious.
Go back and watch some of my old videos there. You'll hear me talking. I'm with you.
I would always get myself worked up for the oval races, because people think it's easy because it's just a circle, and you just you're just going around in a circle over and over and over again. So like it's a mental thing as well. You have to be able to hit your marks lap after lap after lap, and it's different from road racing. What me and you are good at, and
Yeah, you're right. I mean, go ahead, but I'm gonna bring up like a dude on the road racing.
it's completely different style of racing. You you're you go into these races and you're going to be around trucks. It's not like road racing where you can break away and you're just racing the track. No, here you're racing the track plus the other 30, 40 trucks you got around you, because it only takes what 30 seconds to get around this track.
Oh,
High 29s. I don't know. I
right, 31, 33 right now.
Yeah. So you got half a minute to get around this track, and if you're slow, or backmark or whatever, then you're gonna be seeing the leader again. So not only do you have to deal with that, you gotta deal with the people you're racing, and you have to be able to get the mindset of settling in, and then you have to manage tires, because I mean these tracks, they're banked. These tires suck, and it's not like road racing. It's a different mental aspect. It's definitely not. Out of all the forms of racing, people think it's the easiest. It's not. It takes a lot out of you, especially even on the virtual side. It's there's a lot that goes into it, and the fact that we've only had 2 cautions, I don't know, and one of them really shouldn't have even been a caution. It's really impressive because these drivers, they're definitely giving it their all. I don't think anybody comes out here and just happy to race for 30th. They're racing, and that's nice.
Yeah, you're right there. Collins right now, man, battling in the 8th place spot with Persley. Just and to go back there real quick, what you're talking about, the road racing opposed to smoothness. You got to be smooth here. Road racing, a lot of variables that play fast to be around the track. Here, battle for the lead. Lane has run Kruger down. Okay, so Lane right now showing the speed he needs. We've not seen anybody here in the last couple of weeks get up here and battle with this guy, just straight up battling, muscle wise with him. Lane, I think it's finally. He's like, look, hey, recognize, guy's got skills. He's fast out here. But you mentioned it back like with Altus. Now does Kruger, what's his mentality? He's locked into the playoffs now. How much of this does he get aggressive? And that truck looks like it's getting off tight too there, Caleb. It looks like a little deterrent, that is. He can't keep it down as low. And that's going to scrub some speed off going into the turn. Remember, he is on about a couple laps over the tires. It did look like there a couple times, and it got loose that time. So maybe those tires are playing a little bit of factor here.
Yeah, and also, he's also transitioning into he had clean air. Now he's behind somebody, so now he's got all that dirty air coming off the back end.
That looks like push loose feeling going, getting like it's getting tight, and then it all of a sudden is wanting to snap loose on him, and that's and I know on racing, there is nothing that a setup can do to fix that problem. Driver yells, "Hey, truck's tight, going in the turn, middle, and it's snapping loose, coming up." Not a lot I can do for you. I've heard that a minute. Still racing. They can either fix it being loose or fix it being tight. One or the other. when it's usually both sides, it's kind of have to be in the hands of the driver to kind of be like, all right, just kind of figure out a way to drive it. Be easy with it. This product of this track too, as you can see, Jacob Grant here coming up to third.
Yeah, and I think the 44 truck of Kruger has kind of just used his stuff. This is not how he's been racing all night, really. And even it's the 53 truck, right? Of
Kelly.
Yeah.
Up there, missing the fifth.
Yeah, but the 44 and the 53, they started front row, and I mean they had a good jump. So I really.
This is back to this track. What about getting marred in traffic? Good are you to be able to go through it? There's Altus like back bumper.
Yeah, and one thing I'm kind of like looking at here is, what either they've fallen off and they've done something and now they're struggling, or they're falling back on purpose, which I don't think that's the case. But you never know.
Right.
You never know with some of these drivers and their strategies, because I mean
it is a momentum style track. Now, for all fairness, Kelly pitted on lap 39. Kruger pitted on lap 39. The guys that are passing them, especially Collins, he pitted on lap 45. Pitted at lap 41. So it's not a huge advantage, but it's a little bit of advantage tire-wise. Good question out there, Ronnie. You're talking about a lot of these drivers' team. We've been talking about team as far as, team driving. Yes, they are. Joshua Altus and Bob Sherwood, we know their team. There's several other ones out there. Caleb has a lot more info. Now, Kruger, along with Kelly and Simley, we know those three kind of teamed up. So, yes, as far as teams go, you talk about sponsors out there. What advantage does it have? Yeah, at a track like this, no. Daytona, Talladega, yeah, it definitely would play a huge factor because it's a track. As far as sponsors, like Altus, let's take Altus here. He actually works for Cinnabar Bowling. That's actually a company he works for. And every time, he shouts them out. But that's actually a real company that he's with, that he is a part of. And Kruger. Now, that's a broadcasting there, iRacing company, almost like what we do. So, on the flip side, one of them has a sim racing actually style sponsor, and the other one actually has a real life style sponsor. So, and then you have drivers out who run, like, obviously you know what Haviland Oil is. I mean, don't then go to an Advance Auto Parts store. But that's a throwback to the Davey Allison. Well, it doesn't say Haviland Oil on it, actually, fence, but it's a Haviland Oil paint job, if you know the reference there. But again, like him, Lane, that's a fencing company. And another move. So sponsorships is something I've talked about over the years. I've grown doing the broadcast stuff. It's huge. I mean, we've talked about even sponsorship space, and we've got real ones out here, Sports Academy, most of them. Uniformity. That's those are the two main sponsors of the series, and then obviously we sponsors to step up for the race and whatnot.
Yeah. This kind of goes back to, I kind of ramble on every week about it. But, I mean, they really know the series. I don't think this series would be what it is without the sponsors. The sponsors. The sponsors is how the broadcast happens. The sponsors is how, all these drivers really get in, because, without the sponsors.
The prizes they get at the end of the year, stuff like that.
Yeah. And
there's something and all that, yeah.
And that actually goes with what Uniformity is sponsoring for. So at the end of every season, or, at the end of the season, because this is their first year sponsoring this,
I don't mean to interrupt you there, Caleb, but speaking of Uniformity, I do not see Lewis out here tonight, who usually runs the Uniformity truck.
Yeah, I did not notice that.
I didn't notice until we just really started. I mean, we appreciate Uniformity coming on board, but I did not notice him out here tonight. We had kind of a little bad race, but other sponsors are out here. Sports Academy, Ghost, I believe it is Terry who another one out there. One of the other machines. So yeah, I didn't mean to cut y'all there on that one, but I was just bringing up a sponsor. I do Lewis. We always like to try to showcase his truck because he runs the main uniformity style sponsor truck out here.
Yeah, and Ghost and Sideways going to
Yeah.
He's running the Sports Academy truck, which is our other main sponsor. But like I was saying with uniformity and the prizes the drivers get, if you win a race this season, at the end of the season, uniformity is going to patch for all of our drivers. If you won, saying basically your name, number, what track you won at, it's got a checkered flag on it. Pretty cool. I've seen a prototype of one. It's really, if I were to come back and race Coda, I would want one. So who knows? But yeah, they're super cool. And when I was racing and I won something. I think if you this is the closest I feel most of us will ever get to racing. It's expensive, Joe. And so it's expensive, and this is the closest I feel most of us will ever get to racing. And if you win, you should get something. You're not going to get the big trophies like they get on Sundays, but I mean, just a little something saying that you won. Ross Tatum won the championship at the end of the year. He got a title though.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's going to be the same thing this year, but it's pretty cool that they're actually getting real life prizes for racing in a virtual world, and that's thanks to our sponsors: Sports Academy, Uniformity, Grant Designs, Operation N22. All of these sponsors make the league go. And, also behind the scenes with Chris Smith, Frederick Garcia starting the league years ago. So, I mean, all of these things really make
speak of them too, right there, Chris. Running 27-20 nose to tail, and just to give a real history lesson real quick, as you see Mike Kelly's on pit road along, Jamie along coming on with him was Fred Garcia ran the league for the longest time, gave the helms up a couple seasons ago to Chris, and Chris has done a wonderful job taking this where it's at. Starters, kind of drivers here week in and week out. It's just phenomenal. Definitely go check out cleanracingleague.com. It'll get you up to speed on everything out there. Go Lane Go. Yeah, and Jamie, must be a brother or something. Have you noticed anything? Okay, that's a controversial conversation there, Ronnie, because you put the word console in there. But I will say this, and I'm going to stick to this. I don't really care what anybody else is. iRacing can run on the new consoles, the 5 and the Series X. The older ones, not so much. But I'm going to say they can run on the new ones, right?
I'll go in and I'll double down on that. It can.
The only reason why they won't, here's the only reason we got a lot of pits. So, real quick, and I don't want to get too far on that subject, but the only reason why I want is because iRacing is a subscription, and console, how do I say it in a nice way? Players are not going to buy subscription. It just won't work on the console. Now, with that said, if iRacing was to come up with a way to bring their subscription or somehow to bring their racing to it, and they are, point taken, new Outlaw series of dirt that they've got. No, iRacing does not build that, but they are overseeing it. So that means they have a lot of say in what that game and stuff will be built. They also are having a lot of say in the new NASCAR 25 game that's coming out for the console. So keep an eye on that one. Me and Caleb have talked about this and many a times, and I don't know how Caleb feels. How I feel. When it comes to iRacing, no one, and I mean no one, touches him when it comes to over. There is no other sim, game, whatever you want to call it, out there as our leaders on pit road that even has him. Yeah, he's penalty will just do his pit stop. But as far as road racing goes, yes, there's competition out there. At a quarter race room, Automobilista, there is several when it comes to road racing. That's a whole different animal in itself. But when it comes to the dirt, filled with the dirt and the oval side, iRacing is field. When it comes to the console, you're going to hear and he didn't get a penalty, so that's good. At a 15-second stop, 4 tires fuel, he's off. It's going to leave three drivers up front yet to pit. It's going to be Haynes, Honeycutt, and Clark. Clark pitted on lap 65, but I'll come in more time before this thing is over. That'll probably put us back over to Kruger. But just to reiterate and finish up what I was saying there, it is a very, lack of a better word, it's a tough, bad conversation when you bring up the console thing, because a lot of iRacers unfortunately feel like the consoles are inferior and can't run iRacing, which is not true, because there's a lot of potato PCs out there that still running iRacing today. Let me just say it that way. And a lot of the new consoles, contrary to what these PC guys want to say, unless you're spending $1,000 or more, most consoles now can hold hand in hand, the new ones that is, hold hand in hand with a lot of those. Anyways, kind of that subject. I mean, it's a crazy one.
And I'll kind of piggyback with it. Whoa.
Oh, yeah, that's a block. Man, sorry about that, Caleb. Which is why that will be for the lead when they cycle through the pit stops up here. But maybe Kruger saw that. Hey, you talked about it earlier, the dirty air. Maybe Kruger saw earlier that, look, once I get behind, the problem is Lane's sitting on newer tires, and he's eventually just going to get around him. But man, that was a huge block to try. It was either a block or he just got way loose coming off that turn. Either one, we're not behind the wheel of the truck, but like Lane's going to ultimately get around him. But Wild went up front.
I don't know. Like that one kind of looked a little sketchy. I mean,
yeah, from what we saw. Yeah.
Let's say it kind of looked like he got chased down the track. I mean, look, you get one. I think every driver gets one. You get one dumb move.
One dumb move.
You get one. Look, listen. I mean, that's the way I did it. You get one dumb move. Because look, we understand road racing. You are not allowed to block.
What's up, Jeff?
you get one block. You are not
as
allowed
long as you don't wreck the guy
race.
behind you, it's okay.
Yeah.
And, blocking's blocking. Just try not to wreck the guy.
There are ways to do it, and there are rules that are set in place in actual racing to do it properly. I don't like that. If you chase him down the track, it is what it is.
On the lap, I guess maybe on the lap we're on right now. The only reason I can see why he would have now was he don't want to be in that dirty air.
Yeah, and look, listen, I get not wanting to be in the dirty air, but with how wide turn 1 is, and we were talking about fresh tires
tight, it looks
and how,
too.
And yeah, I don't know. It seems like as the run goes on, let's see what the 53 truck does here. Seems like he's going to give him the space. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing they can do. I don't think the 53 is going to give the 44 a fight here. I think he's going to let him.
He's on a lot older tires. Not a lot older. He pitted at lap 78. Kruger pitted at 80. Lane pitted at 82. They're all good to go to the end of the race here. Grant's there, but just noticing Kruger's truck kind of couple times getting kind of tight in the turns, which tells me
Yeah.
that maybe he is overdriving a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, look, it seems like the 61 of Hostler really come alive here in the second
Oh
half
yeah,
of this race. And you know, because in the beginning he was kind of sitting third, he was behind
to lock
Kelly.
himself in that championship, Caleb.
You said what?
He wants to lock himself in that championship
Yeah, I mean, you know,
or playoffs. In playoffs, isn't it?
he knows, and you know, people can debate me all day with this, but you know, we've been watching the races, we commentate them, we see every lap. He is by far, if he gets to the playoffs, he will be in the championship pool. And you know, hopefully I did not jinx him. You know,
And now he's going to knock out. And see, he's going to be like,
no,
"Hush, Caleb."
no. And you know, but no, hear me out. Every time he wins a race in the regular season, he gets to the playoffs. He somehow finds a way to turn it on and really run through the playoffs. He gets to the championship race, and everyone out there like everyone out there like, look, listen. We have rounds. It is you have three races. No, I think it's two. Yeah, it's two races. Sorry, I'm thinking of real life where it's three. We have two races in each round here, and you know, you make a mistake in the first one. Okay, you wreck out of it. You have that second race to piggyback on. In the championship race, it's one and done. You gotta go. And unfortunately, the past two seasons for Lane Hostler, he hasn't really had the luck. You know, last season with Ross Tatum winning the championship, Lane dominated 85% of that race, and lost it within
the
the last
championship
laps.
before that when the Aldous did it. It's like wow.
Yeah, Lane, you know, Lane is dominant. You know, and as long as he can put himself in a position to where he can get there, he'll make a fight for it. But it's about finishing. And you know, I don't think he has a problem with getting there. I think it's more of a I think it's more of a thing with it's one and done, and luck has a big part to play in the championship. But you know, if he can pull this one out, I think we got 20 laps to go. Under 20 laps to go.
I mean, right now, about 9. Oh yeah. Got a big lead too over him. Looks like about on a 2 second. Real quick, Ronnie. Oh yeah, iRacing's huge when it comes to real NASCAR races. Actually, been some folks who started on iRacing who are actually racing in life this day. Christopher Bell, I think, is the biggest one, right? But who's that?
William Byron.
William Byron, yeah, other big one. Ray Kalu, name right?
Raja.
Kalu. Okay. Matter of fact, I broadcasted a race that he actually raced in the series in, so I knew him. I mentioned this real quick before. I've had the privilege of doing contact.
Whoa!
Oh, that was Nathan Brown. He almost took a ride. About needed man to camel toe service for himself there. Yeah, but a good save by his end. But you know, real quick, I've had the honor to be able to in iRacing and be able to call races that have had real drivers. Kenny Hamlin, Ron Capps, Parker Klingerman. I've had Chase Briscoe. I've talked to a lot of those drivers, been able to commentate with them in races before. I've had Ben Shelton up in the booth, and I've been able to have actual real style announcer booth. So yes, iRacing is a very much of a platform. Dale Earnhardt Jr. actually had guys in our oval side. That's why I said earlier, when it comes to the NASCAR, because NASCAR is sanctioned here, a license in iRacing. When it comes to the NASCAR oval side, nobody touches it. The road racing side is a different animal in itself. But when it comes to the NASCAR side, and even on the road racing side, you have real drivers like Max Vass.
Lane has completely opened up this lead to 2.3 seconds. Yeah,
Judson.
Yeah, and and I'll go ahead. I just want to bring it up because I've had that debate before. Just and then I'll drop it with the subscription thing on consoles.
Right.
Uh, Final Fantasy 14, and this is not racing related. Final Fantasy 14 is a subscription-based
Not the night,
MMORPG, and it is $15 a month, the same as iRacing. They can do it on PlayStation and Xbox, and I think it would run very, very well. I mean, a PS5 is more powerful than my computer. My computer can run iRacing with ease.
Right.
Let that sink in. So
That's what I'm saying, but and you've got to look the Series X. I mean, that's why I say the new console, contrary to what a lot of PC guys want to believe, I've seen it. My youngest has a Series X, and on a 144 hertz monitor, it does not wobble. Okay, it's locked right there at the one range, which is about all you really need on iRacing anyway. Not a competitive shooter game, so. Yeah, they can run it. They can run it.
I will say, if you are looking to get into simulation games on PlayStation or Xbox or console, whatever, ACSD, literally
Yes.
every update you can get, and it's fantastic on a controller. The World of Outlaws game, by Monster Games. Their previous game was the SRX game, and it was terrible. iRacing got involved and changed the physics with how the sprint cars, late models, all the street stocks, all that handles. It feels great, even on a controller. I can only imagine how NASCAR 25 is going to feel. I can't wait for it. But we're nearing the end of this race show.
We are. You got about 10 laps to go, and Hoosler's got a lead of a 3.3 second over Kruger, and Kruger right now is just maintaining that second place spot. I mean, he's still doing what he needs to do. Be consistent. He's locked in already to the playoffs. You see right there, Frederick blinking a little bit. And unfortunately, we saw last week what blinking can cause. I mean, we're in a virtual world. Can't control. A lot of snowstorms have come through, and most this people might be still dealing with a little bit of power outages, stuff like that. Mike Kelly, though, bouncing back last week. Remember, he didn't make the race at all. He has to race his way in week in and week out. Was able to put this thing on pole right now, having a good showing up here in third place. Joshua Altus, I talked about him earlier. He's kind of hit that plateau right now. He's still got time maybe to get to that third place, though. He's up 15 spots sitting in fourth with Mike Haynes. But a solid run from him, up 17 spots there. Scott Simley, kind of been quiet, but he's stood right there. Consistent all night long. He raced his way into the race last week and this week, sitting in the sixth place. Justin Carey up 13th. You got Jacob Grant holding on to 8th. Tyler Honeycutt, another one. There's a lot of you veterans here at the Clean Racing League. You got Tyler Honeycutt right there at 8th. Jacob Grant holding on to the 9th, and Tyler Persley around the top 10 as he's actually battle with head. But then you got Zach Peterson outside the top 10, sitting in the 11th, up 20 spots. So we've had some pretty good hard chargers here, Caleb.
Yeah, and with the way the cautions, sorry, I'm still a little bit sick, but that's fine. The way this race is played out with all the pit strategies and everyone's moving around, I mean, it's allowed some of these drivers kind of go forward, make their moves. But as the race goes on, it's kind of this track is very difficult to maneuver. It is just, in my personal opinion, burn it down. That's all I gotta say. Burn it down. I think we can do better. We can do better. There's.
We only need one Charlotte. And I think that's the whole premise, that this place was supposed to be a Charlotte clone. And it does not race like Charlotte.
No, it definitely doesn't now.
I think when they originally built it, it raced kind of like Charlotte. But like what you just said, when they redid it, now it's... No. doesn't, because it's owned by the same people. But we go back to who's having a good night. Obviously, Lane's having a great night. Kruger and company up are having a great night. Just who's not having a great night? Ross Tatum, unfortunately retired for the night there. Been in twice. Just a bad night. Good news is he's locked into the playoffs. Trying to defend that series championship. A rookie coming in last season, unbelievable. First season in here in the league, got up there, won the championship. You have good weeks, sometimes you don't. Unfortunate for him right here. As we're coming up on final laps here, about 5 to go.
Yeah, and it like I was saying, the second half of this race has really come alive for Lane Hostler here, and
yes.
And this is. I think this is really. I'm not gonna ask.
Well, I'm the name. That's why I just Hostler. Just I don't know. Anyways,
I don't know.
Look, my last name's White. Look, I'm about as American as American can get. So there you go.
Buddy, my last name is Smith. Let's
look, so me and you both, man. It's like, look, we got the most generic names in the world.
I will tell you what, it is easy playing video games, and your name's just already there.
Yep.
It's great. But the second half of this race has really come alive, and I think this is really what Lane needed to gain that momentum back, gain the confidence.
And if he wins, to get locked into that.
Yeah, and that's really gonna put him in a position to where he can, he can kind of step back a little bit, because when I was racing, it was always
about Lane. He's not gonna step back. Come on, that guy.
Oh no! What I'm saying is, you win, and now you have about 9 races. No, not 9 races. You have about 6, 7 races where you kind of just chill. As long as you show up, you can just chill. You can still race. You can still race. You can still do what you want, as long as you're just not breaking anyone.
He can kind of
step back.
Final time here. He's going to come up here on this bad stretch. Lane right now looking to punch his ticket in that playoffs. He's got 2 more turns, and at this point, with the lead he's got, he can just put it on cruise control. As he comes out of 4, Lane, man, Hostler is going to win it here tonight at Texas and break through that barrier and put himself in the playoffs here tonight. Kruger's going to bring her home in second. Mike Kelly's going to bring it home with a good finish here in 3rd place for himself. Altus, man, was able to get up there in the 4th along with Haynes there in 5th. But, man, Lane is, like what you just said, that's got to be a monkey off his back right there, because last week you can kind of hear it in his voice. What I got to do. Hey, got that win, got himself solidified now in the championship. Now it's a matter of, okay, let's concentrate on the rest of the season, getting in these races, see what we can do, and getting our head right for that championship. But Caleb, it was a good race from start to finish.
It was, and this season we are 6 for 6, 6 races, 6 different winners, and. At the beginning of the race, I said, let's go for 6. Here we are. It's Lane's locked himself into the playoffs. He'll be racing or attempting to race for what will be his 3rd championship. So that's exciting. This is his 3rd season. He'll be going to the playoffs. Or not 3rd season. He'll be going to the playoffs, but 3rd straight. So hopefully he can kind of put the past seasons behind him and keep this momentum going forward.
Yes. Well, we'll look here, and we're going to bring up. We'll bring Lane up. Let's get a word with him.
Hey, Lane, you got me?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, man. So, first of all, congratulations on winning here at Texas. But in the beginning of the race, Kruger and Kelly were kind of, they were kind of out there, and then, we had a few cautions come out, and the second half of the race, you really, it's like your truck came alive. You really were moving, and you were kind of unstoppable. Did you practice? What was kind of the mindset going into the race? Like, did you have to win, lock yourself in, or, what were you thinking?
First off, if I randomly cut out, it's because I'm coughing because I've been sick.
Oh,
But
you're good.
no, like the first half of the run, my goal was to kind of just take it easy. I worked out the math, and I planned on two-stopping the race, and I ended up two-stopping the race with the cautions and everything. But had it gone green, that was my plan, was to two-stop. So early on there, I kind of just let those guys go, just because I was trying to save a little bit of fuel. I kind of picked a number in my head, and that was the lap time I was going to run. Early on they were running faster lap times than I needed, so I kind of just let them go.
Yeah, well, your strategy really paid off in the end, and now you'll be going to the playoffs. Attempting to race for another championship. I we were talking last week, and just kind of coming close to winning, and now you've finally won this season. So now just kind of keeping the momentum forward. So you're just gonna look forward to the playoffs and go for a championship.
That's kind of my plan. There's a couple of good tracks coming up for me, and then once we get into the playoffs, I kind of like some of the tracks that we're gonna have this year. It should be a good time.
Well, we are excited to be there the entirety of the season, watching it unfold. Congrats on your first place, and is there anyone you want to thank for your win tonight?
Actually, so I need to give a shout out to Joey Stiers. He and I were tied for most wins in the league, and I believe that I just broke that tie. So I plan on giving him a little bit of crap this week, and seeing if I could talk him into coming back and running some races. Got to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. You guys do an awesome job. I'm definitely going to end up going and watching this one. Got to thank, I'm pretty sure my parents are watching, so thanks to them. My brother's been texting me the whole race, so I think he's watching. Got to thank my girlfriend, just everybody. It's been a testing couple of weeks, but this feels good.
Yeah, it would appear Jamie said, "My son won, so proud." So that's exciting that you have family watching, and definitely a dominant one to watch. So but yeah, congrats on tonight's win, and locking yourself into the playoffs. I don't know where we're at next week. I really don't. So hopefully you'll be there. But yeah, congrats.
I heard Chicagoland, but don't quote me on it.
Oh, well, I like Chicagoland.
We are at Indy.
Oh, I was wrong. Sorry.
Oh wow, that's way off.
Chicagoland is right afterwards.
Oh,
perfect.
Well,
thank you guys.
all right, have a good one.
Well, that's Lane right there, and like I say, you kind of tell. Unfortunately, a little sick, but the monkey's off his back. Being able to get back up there and that thing, man, punch yourself into the playoff. I'm gonna bring up Mike here. Mike, Joey, the movie got a copy.
Hey, what's up, Joe?
Well, not much, but I tell you what, you had to race your way in here this week. Last week, wasn't able to get in that qualifying. This week, put it on pole, but you still was able to maintain third. I know this track here is kind of a momentum style track, but I mean, did you find maybe tire wear was an issue about this stuff?
Tire wear wasn't really an issue. It was just kind of maintaining the balance of the truck more than anything. Hitting your marks was real important. You kind of had to, you couldn't really save too much, because 3 and 4 is wide open. So it's hard to try to save anything when everyone's going wide open through 3 and 4. But you kind of feather the throttle going in a little bit. And then in 1 and 2, there was ways that you could, be fast and still save tires a little. But turned out being a fuel run almost there. It was definitely a fuel run if we wouldn't have had that first yellow that kind of screwed things up. But I was real close on making it to the end. So I had to kind of take it easy and watch that there. And that first yellow screwed us up. Me and Michael had a good gap there on everybody after we came out. And then, of course, had a yellow come out and Lane really took advantage of that, and his truck was really fast, and he had a little bit of a tire advantage, so everything just worked out perfectly for him to be in a prime position, and I had nothing for him there at the end after he came out of the pits and passed me. So I was just trying to milk it to the end and get on the podium so I could come up here and talk to you guys, and it's been a long time, so I really wanted to get in here and say hi.
And no doubt about it, I know Simley was out there with you too, racing. It was a good race all in all here at Texas. One of these tracks, me and Caleb, we talked about how they repaved it, and how even though with the repave, it was supposed to be multi-groove, but it's really groove style track. Not a lot of ways to pass here. Got third. Got anybody want to thank for a good finish?
Yeah, thanks to Grant Designs and Uniformity and all the sponsors here at Clean Racing. Saw Ricky Harden was racing here. He's kind of a guy I've known for a long time on iRacing. So was looking to expand out, me and Scott, and go do some different things here and there. And this looks like some good racing. And so far it has been. He had a good finish last week, and I hit the wall. I had the fast time at Dover last week too till the end. Michael knocked me off, but then choked in qualifying, so didn't get to make my first run. But Scott had a good run, so shout out to him. He's had a second and a sixth in his first two races, and Clean Racing seems to be some pretty good clean racing. So shout out to them and all the admins, and shout out to you guys. And it was a good debut to get a pole and a podium my first run here.
Absolutely. There again, congratulations on that run there, Mike.
All right, thanks. We'll be there.
There you go. It's Mike Kelly. Like I said, unfortunately, not being one of the charter drivers, going to have to race his way in week and week out. Exciting. Mentioned it before. Exciting to have that advantage. So we'll bring up Kruger up here and let's get a word with him, Caleb.
Hey, Michael, you got me?
Yeah, I got you guys.
All right, man. So, qualifying up front, off the start, you and Mike were both very, very fast. We had two cautions come out, I guess untimely cautions. In the second half of the race, it kind of turned into what looked like another dominant race for you, turned to kind of playing defense. What was going on during the race?
Really on the first run, it was just managing, really. I felt like I was building the gap a little bit, and what kind of led to the pit stops, because I was presuming we were going to go green. I heard Mike pit, so I instinctively reacted to kind of counteract and pit the same lap he was, because he was closest behind me, so I thought I'd capitalize on that. And I come down pit, and I feel like I got a pretty decent gap there for how the pit cycles went until we got that just badly timed caution afterwards, and that kind of wasn't what I needed really, and I don't think Mike needed either, because that kind of I feel like helped out. That helped Lane out a little bit at the end. Because he had 2 lap pressure tires, and we restarted, and I just didn't have the pace I had at the start, because Lane was just on a little bit pressure tires really, and it was really kind of tough to battle with him, because I had to really just defend the best I could with dirty air in the second last run really against him, and I just didn't have much with him. He was able to stretch his fuel longer and pit later than I could, and even on the last cycle when I barely got ahead, I didn't have much challenge really, because I'd worn 2 laps at the end, and he had freshies, and I didn't have much of a match. Besides that, he capitalized big on it. It's not to discredit Lane. He did a great job. Sometimes you get lucky in racing sometimes, and Lane was a big benefitter. And he did a great job though. He was really hard to beat there on that last cycle, and he was definitely the one to beat after or on that last stretch.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll see battles between you guys for the foreseeable future. You guys are both very quick, and given you both been up front past 2 races, should be exciting to watch unfold. With your second place, is there anyone you want to thank for the race tonight?
Yeah, I just want to thank my teammates at Radius Racing, Justin Duran and Cameron Caldwell. Thank those guys, and you guys for putting on a show. for broadcasting this. Very appreciated for what you guys do, putting this together every Monday for this league.
Well, I believe Joe said we were at Indianapolis next week, the Oval, and so hopefully we will see you there next week and keep the momentum going.
Yep, hope so. Thank you guys.
Have a good one.
You
Yo,
too.
Kruger, man, putting it up in second place tonight, and it's going to be a battle throughout the season. I think between those two, Lane, Kruger, we got some new guys showing up too here. A lot of the veterans we talked about earlier, still in this. So still some spots left for the playoffs, and then when we get into the championship. But all in all, good race tonight. These guys did an outstanding job, and like I said, we go to Indy next week. That one's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and Indianapolis is always such a fun race to watch. All four corners are completely different on the racetrack. You have to drive them all so differently, and it is really a driver's track. So I'm very excited to see how the drivers maneuver around the track, and hopefully we get long green flag runs there at Indy. But we'll find out next week.
Absolutely. For myself and everyone, folks, hope you enjoyed it. We're going to leave here Texas tonight for the Clean Racing League, and I hope you had a good one. For myself and everyone, have a good night.